Bort? Oh, come on, Bort?
Mommy, buy me a license plate!
No, come along, Bort.
Hello, and welcome to the Bort Experience. We are on Season 2, Episode 10, 23 overall. Bart gets hit by a car. And before we jump into the episode, I just want to say thank you so much. I just hit 151 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you very much. Continue to subscribe, like, comment, and hopefully keep growing the channel in 2026. So I hope everyone's having a great holiday season so far. Okay, so let's jump into the episode. It was originally aired in January 10th, 1991. It was directed by Mark Kirkland and written by John Swartzwelder. The summary. One day, Bart is skateboarding when he's suddenly hit by Mr. Burns' car. An attorney named Lionel Hunt suggests that the Simpsons sue Burns, promising a big cash settlement. Homer agrees, and he and Hunt spend time fabricating Bart's story, taking him to see Dr. Nick Riviera, who has dubious credentials. Marge opposes suing Burns and would be happy with him paying Bart's medical bills and apologizing. Burns eventually finds out about the phony doctor, and Marge is called to the witness stand during the trial. She refuses to lie, and her testimony leads to the trial being lost. Okay, so we had some audio issues, so I'm picking up. So if you see a weird cut, that is why. So my thoughts of the episode. I thought it was a really great one. I especially like the very beginning of the episode. After Bart gets hit by Burns' car, we have a sequence of Bart going into heaven on an escalator. He breaks one of the rules of the escalator of heaven, of the voice of heaven, of God saying, don't spit over the escalator. He does that. The escalator kind of shifts where the stairs kind of go down, and it turns into a slide almost, and he slides straight down to hell. I thought that sequence was really crazily done. It's kind of like that dreamlike sequences that we've seen in previous episodes. I think even John Swartzwelder, who wrote this episode, has a part to play in that kind of thing. We see Bart kind of talk to the devil. Bart is asking, is there anything I can do to prevent this from happening again in the future? And the devil's pretty much like, hey, you wouldn't like doing it. We'll see you soon. And Bart's like, okay, see you later. I just thought that was, a really great way to start the episode, just the imagery, and then also just that crazy dream sequence. We also get the introduction of two incredible characters, one in Lionel Hutz, and then the other in Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody, I'm Dr. Nick. He didn't have that line yet, but we will get that, in upcoming, episodes and seasons. So two fantastic characters. I also like the dynamic between all the family members. Homer trying to get the settlement, Bart being kind of freaked out and then going along with it. We have Lisa and Marge kind of having their objections, not only about the doctor, but their lawyer Lionel Hutz's, thought process on, what is the truth, and this is like his degrees, or are they even real, and just being kind of like it's a very like Better Call Saul type of lawyer. It feels like that Slippin' Jimmy type feel. So I thought that was great. I also thought just the whole trial aspect. This isn't the first or last trial or courtroom scene we'll see in The Simpsons, so it was just kind of cool to see that. And overall, just a really great episode. I apologize. Like I said, I've already kind of recorded this, but the audio went out. So I'm kind of like, okay, let me try to be as fresh as I can. So I appreciate your patience there. But yeah, overall, a fantastic episode. One of the better ones this season, and just overall in general, I really enjoyed it. So next we'll go to a new segment that I'm trying out called Interesting Facts About the Episode. And this one we just kind of have one, but hopefully going forward I'll have kind of multiple different types of facts that I think would be just interesting to know about. So the scene where we go down to hell that I had mentioned earlier is from a painting called The Garden of Earthly Delights by Bosch. I'll put it on screen right here, but it is like almost a scene for scene take on the painting, which I think was fantastic. I took art history. I also like to draw and do Photoshop type stuff and Procreate and all that kind of thing. So it's really cool when you see those really famous works of art and then they're incorporated into The Simpsons. I think it's like fantastic. So I thought that was a really interesting fact. And like I said, hopefully in the future we'll have more kind of facts like this to kind of just for your information and just really cool things. Like for me, those little like factoids are really cool to learn and know about. Okay, our next segment are the citizens of Springfield. So we have Dan Costanella as Homer Simpson and one of the attorneys. We have Julie Carvener as Marge, Nancy Cartwright as Bart, Yardley Smith as Lisa, and Harry Shearer as Burns, Smithers, Satan, the judge, and Dr. Herbert, or Hibbert, I should say. And then Hank Azarian as Moe, Dr. Nick Riviera, and Doris Garu as Delia. And then we have special guest voice Phil Hartman as the voice of Heaven and Lionel Hutz. R.I.P. to Phil Hartman. He was a fantastic actor, not only from SNL, some other films, and then also just The Simpsons. He voices Troy McClure, who's one of an incredible character on the show where he plays in all these different movies, and he even gets interacts with some of the Simpsons family later on. But yeah, he was a fantastic actor who was taken way too soon from us. So RIP to a fantastic actor, but I'm glad we're getting into where he is introduced, and I know he's around for a couple seasons. So I'm so thankful for that. So I've kind of already alluded to this, but the MVP for the episode for me is the core four members of the family. We had Homer, questioning Marge's, like, their marriage at the end, and of course coming to senses, but like this like ploy to get more money. And we had Marge and Lisa kind of objecting to this, and then kind of Bart going along with it with Homer's plans and the lawyers. But I think the overall thing was just this microcosm of what will you do for money, and what values do you have. And I feel like this was a great showpiece to show what a family, how certain members of your family might react. And Marge is a very like go by the books. She seems like a Christian, really Christian type lady, not as Christian as like the Flanders, but just like she believes in telling the truth and stuff like that. And then Lisa questions like dubious like medical, and like almost like that kind of comes at a different angle of, hey, you're not, are you even authorized to do this kind of stuff? Are you, and she's like very intelligent. So I just love that this episode really had that meta commentary of what would you do for more money? Would you lie even if you were injured? And I still feel like if, Mr. Burns did hit Bart, that he should have paid something. I just don't know if lying, I don't think you would have to lie about it. It's like, hey, you hit a child, you should pay damages. So, but just how far Homer would go for it. So overall, like I said, the MVP of the episode was the core four members of the family. Maggie didn't really do too much, or I would have included her. So sorry, Maggie. So the best joke, I have two. So the first one is the scene where Homer is kind of sitting around talking to his buddies about what happened and everything. So here we go. Homer: if I wasn't so spineless, I'd march into Burns's office right now. And Simpson, this is Smithers interrupting him. Homer: Smithers, Mr. Burns wants you to march into his office right now. And then once Homer gets to the office, Burns says, Simpson, at last we meet. I feel like this is such a great joke because going forward, it's the running gag that just like keeps giving. I don't know if they're doing it in current seasons. I think the 800th episode just aired recently. But I love that this is a running gag where Burns, either because he has so many employees he doesn't remember, or he's a really rich person who doesn't care, or he's super old, or a combination of all three, never remembers Homer Simpson's name. And that even comes back later, one of my favorite episodes, which is a two-parter, Who Shot Mr. Burns. But I just love this as not only as a gag, but just like knowing that it's going to keep running, and like he'll find different ways when they interact, because every season there's several episodes usually that involves the Simpsons family and Mr. Burns. So it was just fantastic. The other joke was later in the episode when Marge and Homer are invited to the Burns mansion. Burns. And that ugly customer was the last Indonesian rhino on Earth. Marge, I didn't know you liked animals. Burns, oh, I don't like everything about them, just their heads. I thought this was great. It's funny, but also sad, because when you go on social media and you see those big game hunters and they're shooting elephants and rhinos and all these other endangered species, it kind of makes you sick, or at least it makes me sick to see that kind of things, because it's not like, oh, you need that to feed a village or your family. You're just doing it for sport, and you're killing like an endangered species, which is horrible, in my opinion. But I love how just the casual nature, and then Burns doesn't even understand that Marge is like rebuking his behavior on that. So I just thought that was fantastic. So a great joke, but also kind of sad at the same time. And we come to the end. My favorite section, trivia. All right. And the question, what is the name of Springfield's comic book shop? Again, what is the name of Springfield's comic book shop? It has one of my favorite characters, Comic Book Guy. He's fantastic. But to get that answer, please like, subscribe, and catch out the episodes on Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But since you're here, we're gonna get you the answer. It is called Android's Dungeon, which is actually a pretty cool name for a comic book shop. One of my shops that I kind of had in my town that I no longer live, it was called Rock Bottom Comics. And then there's let me know what are some cool comic book store names. I feel like that's a chance for someone to be very creative in the name and kind of like the logo and stuff. So I love seeing like kind of local comic book shops, and I always love going in for a free comic book day. I kind of don't collect as much as I used to, but it's a fun thing, but it's kind of an expensive hobby. But overall, thank you so much for subscribing. Like I said at the top of the episode, 151 subscribers. I'm hoping 2026 we keep growing the channel. My goal is to get to 500, to get into the YouTube partner program. But until next time, peace out.